Graphing a linear inequality in the plane, standard form, and it says graph the inequality. First of all, for graphing inequalities, we have these basic rules. If the inequality is not underlined, you use a dotted line. If it is underlined, you use a solid line. If it's less than, you shade below the line. Greater than is shade above the line. Now, most people teach the standard form that you get the y by itself. I do not teach it that way. I teach you how to work with standard form. So the first thing I'm going to do is write this as a negative 1x plus 3y is greater than negative 12. Now this inequality is not underlined, so I'm going to use a dotted line. And greater than is above the line. The only thing you have to be careful with standard form is if the y has a negative number in front of it, you do have to flip the inequality, but we don't have that situation here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this constant and I'm going to put it on top of each one of these. Don't change the sign, just pop it up top like this. So negative 12 divided by negative 1 is a positive 12, and because that's stuck to x, that is on the x-axis. Remember, this is x and this is y. The next one, negative 12 divided by 3 is a negative 4, and because that is stuck to y, that's on the y-axis. So I do need to count these by 2's. Okay, so 12 on the x, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and negative 4 on the y, negative 2, negative 4. Okay, and I said I wanted a dotted line. So I'm going to use a dotted line. It lets me pick it. So try to get it straight through the points. And I said I'm going to color above the line. Okay, so more or less like that, that's my answer. Okay, so this is underlined. That means I use a solid line when I graph it, and it's greater than, so greater than is above the line. So I'm going to call this 1x plus 3y equals, well, greater than or equal to negative 12. I take this and pop it up top of each one of these. Okay, negative 12 divided by 1 is negative 12, and because that's stuck to x, that's on the x-axis. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4, and because that's stuck to y, that's on the y-axis. So again, I'm going to count by 2's. Negative 12 on x, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and negative 4 on y, 2, 4, and I said I'm going to use a solid line. Connecting these dots. And greater than means color above it. Less than means color below. All right. Okay, good. I'm glad this came out because this is the one that I told you have to watch out for. One of the first things you want to check is if you have a negative number in front of y, because if you do, it flips the inequality. So this is not going to be a less than answer. It's going to be greater than or equal. Okay, so that means you are going to use a solid line because the original inequality is underlined, but instead of coloring below it, it's greater than, so you're going to color above. So I have 5x minus 2y is greater than or equal to 2. So I take the 2 and I pop it up top like this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to circle that. Okay, 2/5 is a fraction, so I'm just going to leave it as 2/5 on x. That's going to be really close to 0. And 2 divided by -2 is -1, and that's stuck to y, so -1 on y. X and y. Okay, on the x, 2/5 is going to be really close to 0. It's hard to do on this board, but I'll put it right here. And -1 on y is right here. So this is a very steep graph. We're going to do a solid line. And we're going to color above that line or on top of the line.